My best. Yeah, and if you're kind of wondering which bear is which, the one that's leading right now is the yearling. So that's the darker one. The adult female, number 435 Holly, is in the middle. And the spring cub is just right behind 435. Depending on where these bears go, we may have to move back. And again, that's not anything to be concerned about. This happens an awful lot. If they get to the grass, the island that's kind of in the middle of the river from where we are, they're going to be about 60, 70 yards from us. So we can remain here as long as they stay over there. If they start swimming in this direction, then we'll have to pick up and move. May lose the feed during that period of time, but that's okay. So you're looking at bear 435 right now. She's a kind of a fat bear at this time of the year. The yearling looks like it's up in the grass. Just kind of behind the birch tree that's blocking its sight. And then the spring cub is right in the middle of the camera's view right now. Sorry, what was that, Sean? Okay. Yeah, you might not have the right channel on that. We might not be on air anymore. Well, okay. So if you can still hear me on explore.org, I'm just trying to confirm that. Make sure that you post a comment. That would be wonderful if you could do that. Okay, so we have mom and spring cub right now in the camera's view. And again, the yearling is just out of our line of sight, just behind the birch tree that's kind of close to the camera. So again, if I'm on explore.org, please make a comment that makes sure you can hear me. And I should be on the river. So again, this is quite fascinating. And then you'll see the spring cub follow or trailing behind and still out in the water. And you can just barely see her ears poking above that birch tree. So there was a question as well too, so it's not a big deal. So. Oh, okay. No, it's fine. So. Yeah, you're listening online on the web. You'll be hearing other people talking around me because I'm standing right in a spot where the public is around, other rangers are around too. So we're all kind of fascinated by this this phenomenon that we're seeing. So pan over to the spring cub, and that one, again, is just going to be out of the camera's line of sight because of that birch tree. And then Holly, she's kind of still in the same spot, eating a salmon. So again, this is really rare in the bear world. It has been documented, but I've never seen it here along the Brooks River. And it's kind of very interesting. This is a soap opera that a lot of people were following. Most of the time, these things don't have happy endings. From a human perspective, the bear ends up dying. You know, the chances of this bear finding an adult female that was tolerant enough of him to keep him around and perhaps even protect him is extremely rare. So the odds were definitely against this yearling, but it seemed to be in the right place at the right time for sure. And bear 435 Holly, she's always been a fairly tolerant bear of other bears. So she doesn't necessarily run from other bears unless they're really big, dominant adult males, and most other bears, of course, avoid those. So she's always been tolerant of other younger bears, other adult females, and this he found the right bear at the right time. So it'll be interesting to watch and see if that does happen. I have seen video on the internet of bears in mixed age litters like this, nurse like that all by yourself. Will they nurse next summer? Not really sure. The Holly, again, she's going to keep that spring cub into next year, possibly for a third year. Last time she had a cub that she weaned, she only kept it for 2 summers. So if she's not going to push, you know, the springer away, she's probably, you know, if the yearling survives, she's probably going to keep it. And bears will nurse with their mothers as long as they're with them. So I've even seen big 2.5-year-old cubs that are almost as big as mom nurse. As they age, they are less and less reliant on mother's milk and more reliant on food that they find out in nature. And in fact, right now, even the small spring cub over there is probably gaining, you know, a good deal of its nutrition from the dead salmon that it can pick up as it's walking around. Yeah, and if you're kind of just tuning in right now, we're set up with our mobile camera because we kind of had a really rare event with, looks like a confirmed adoption here, which we don't often see. So we have here at Katmai sort of hijacked the Riverwatch feed to see this, so I can chat with you live for the time being. And she's coming into view right now, so we'll get a really good look at the family. So I'm probably not going to be able to get to all of your questions. And again, my name is Mike Fitz, and I'm a park ranger here at Katmai. But I'll be doing my best. Yeah, and if you're kind of wondering which bear is which, the one that's leading right now is the yearling. So that's the darker one. The adult female, number 435 Holly, is in the middle. And the spring cub is just right behind 435. Yeah, so I'm going to be watching the bear and talking with you, but there's another ranger that's sort of in charge of getting us to move when we need to. So he'll let us know as soon as we need to do that. So it looks like we're going to have to back up in just a little bit. So she ends up, snorkeling by. We'll move back in her wake as soon as we can. So Sean, I'm gonna back up here. We'll follow Aaron and set up over there. So again, if we lose the signal, then we'll get back as soon as we can.
I think we're gonna try to hang out here for the time being.
Sean, if you could set up here, and then maybe I'll step in front of the camera so we're not just looking at grass. So we may be able to still hit the Wi-Fi signal from here. Not sure. So we'll kind of be looking around. We'll move back to the river as soon as we can. Again, a very common occurrence here at Katmai. We're really focused on trying to give bears space they need to survive. Not all bears, of course, will avoid groups of people, but many of them will. And 435 Holly is generally a bear that's pretty habituated to the presence of people. But even still, you want to give them space. You never really know how they're going to react to you in each and every encounter. So you should be watching any bear that you ever happen to encounter very closely for any signs of stress, even bears that you think you know really well.
Your flight's at 1 o'clock. You don't cross the bridge.
They're fishing recently? Tons of dead fish in the... Okay.
And it kind of looked like the yearling was kind of looking for himself for some of those fish because he was wandering off.
Yeah, and the cubs, they're not relying on mother to bring them food if they're just picking up dead fish in the water. So they definitely are going to be cruising the riverbanks looking... They're going to be looking for their food on their own. All of these eddies and side channels, slow-moving parts of the lower half of the Brooks River collect the dead salmon as they drift downstream once they spawn. So it's very, very easy to find a lot of rotten fish out there for the bears to eat. So we're still waiting for the family to move a little bit further away from where we were before we can get across, back up to a spot, I should say, where we can see them again.
I hope so.
Yep. They'll wait.
Okay, they called over to the platform, Jimmy, and they said that they...
So you may be hearing some other things too.
We're gonna move back up now.
Some other people chatting near me. Again, we're right in a spot where the public is.
Back up to the river now.
So we're going to go back up to the river, maybe get a good look at the family.
Holly is on the upriver side of Downham. Okay.
So 435 is right in front of us, and her two offspring are going to be right there too.
So she is moving, so stand by. Thought you were back in the corner.
Downriver Island.
Yeah, she's right in the middle. Oh, there she is, and